Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Brooks here. Today we're talking about another one of my favorite animated comedy shows, Family Guy. I've actually heard people try and insult me by saying some of my jokes are like Family Guy's. You know, dropping random references and then cutting to a mostly unrelated clip. I don't know, Brian. This is worse than that time I got drunk and fell asleep at VidCon. Something like that. Well, if we're being honest, I don't take Family Guy comparisons as an insult at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Family Guy is a classic American comedy, if you ask me. It's a modern classic, and I'm honored to be compared to them. Now, I know I normally go over South Park in these explained videos, but this week's Family Guy episode really spoke to me. They not only address Twitter in a humorous way, it's also totally relevant to what's been going on lately, especially to YouTube, the drama here, and the stuff that's been going on here on the No Bullshit Show. So today we're going to go over Family Guy, Season 16, Episode 6. The episode's called The D in Apartment 23. We're going to go over the story, the references, and my favorite part, so spoilers ahead if you haven't already watched it, and if you care about that sort of thing. If you have or you don't, let's carry on.
I love trash.
Whose fault is this?
You're wearing a garbage bag as a cape. Who do you think?
Him? Shh, she's crushing it.
But before we get into it though, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com is the best online tea and supplement supplier, hands down. They got loads of great teas and health supplements, including D365 and colostrum, which help build muscle. So if you want some tea and you want to get jacked up on sups, you should check out their website. I've personally been hooked on their Life Change tea, which not only cleanses your body and improves digestion, it also gives you lots of natural energy. That's how I can run around like this. Got energy. It's all organic ingredients, and it's also made in the good old United States of America. Perfect for all the alpha males watching out there, trying to get all pumped up like yours truly. Visit GetTheTea.com or call their phone number below for more information. Now back to Family Guy. This episode starts off with Brian and Stewie heading to a college library. There, Brian unsuccessfully tries to hit on some chicks.
So, who you reading?
George Eliot.
Ah, Georgie. I'm a big fan. I think she said it best when she said, Bantam Press, 1851. Lumineers?
What?
When that doesn't work out, the boys wander around campus and stumble upon a little protest. There, Stewie makes this astute observation.
What's going on over there?
Looks like a student rally. They probably forgot to study for an exam, so they organized a protest. In the 90s, you just pull a fire alarm. Now you hold a protest.
This is obviously referencing the recent trend of college students protesting to get out of class and exams, kind of like when Evergreen College students took their faculty hostage, or how these UC Berkeley students literally protested their own exam.
I don't know why you're still sitting down, y'all. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Y'all can take the fucking test, but people are dying out there.
Next, Brian bumps up with a liberal protester who talks about making his school president overreact over something he didn't like. After the protester drops some buzzwords like microaggressions and systemic rape culture, Brian decides to get back on Twitter and try and get on the hype train about all this. And here's where this episode really begins to shine. Brian's a bit of an old soul, so Twitter isn't really his forte. Sure, he's got a good sense of humor, but he's a little dated, and his overuse of hashtags really doesn't help. And here's where I start to identify with Brian a little bit. Not because he's a liberal, God no, but I'm also not a very young buck myself anymore. And while everyone and their mother is on Twitter nowadays, it still really feels like a young people's game. There's something very high school and juvenile about it. It's also mostly populated by children, so there's that too.
Hey, Stewie, what do you think about this tweet?
Oh, don't be that guy.
Kelly Ripa no-shows at work. Who does she think she is? A Republican senator? Hashtag GOPU.
Now, Brian's tweets are mostly just lame before, but there's one that he shoots out at the movies that really gets him into hot water.
About to see the new Kevin Hart movie. Just kidding, I'm white and went to college. Hashtag Baywatch movie.
Pretty funny joke, actually, but we all know how PC liberal retards online like to take everything seriously. So, needless to say, by the time Brian's movie is over, he's got a whole mob of people after him outside, basically trying to lynch the guy over this stupid joke. Sure, it's a little racy, but it's hardly the end of the world. But when you think about it, this mob really isn't that far from the real social justice warriors online. I myself have been called out on a number of joke tweets and over-the-top comments I made over the years. It seems like unless you post the most bland PC stuff ever, there's always going to be someone who will find a way to get offended. That, and then there's these outright liars, slanderers, and attackers. People like the YouTube KKK, who will do anything they can to take your words out of context, to try and make you look bad. And very often their go-to strategy is exactly what's happening to Brian here. They take your joke seriously or out of context, and then they slam you for it. It gets real ridiculous when you look into it. I've even seen a few borderline autistic people take Hitler didn't do nothing jokes seriously, even when they're repeatedly told not to. It gets pretty fucking insane out there.
There he is! Where? I'm in the back!
Next, Brian runs home, being chased by a literal mob again. There, the family confronts Brian, and Lois drops this great line.
What were you thinking writing that tweet?
What? It was just a joke.
Brian, it's not 2005. You can't just go online and say whatever you want.
Yeah, remember how mad people got when DiGiorno tweeted about domestic violence? And they're not even a guy. They're pizza.
God, do I miss 2005? George Bush, the war in Iraq, Facebook was still only for college students. Do you guys remember MySpace? I do. Lois really struck a chord with me with this 2005 line. In a lot of ways, things really were better back then. We had a better Batman, a better King Kong, and even a better Star Wars movie. Well, the best of the prequels, at least. PC culture was on the decline, which was why the internet was still an open season back then, not this liberal social justice hellhole we know today.
All right, I'll delete the tweet.
You haven't deleted it yet? Yeah, what a train wreck!
The next issue to come up for the Family Guy crew is guilt by association. Lois goes to the supermarket and finds all her buddies who work there won't talk to her. It appears they caught wind of Brian's tweet and now won't associate with Lois. In fact, the whole Family Guy crew pretty much gets ostracized. Peter's friends kick him out of the bar, and the kids are almost kicked out of the school lunchroom.
There's no such thing as jokes anymore.
Yeah, we live in a post-joke world.
Chris, maybe we should just eat outside?
That is until they decide to fight back. For those who don't know, this over-the-top fight scene is an homage to the church fight scene in the first Kingsman movie. It has the same feel, the insane fight moves, and even the very same Lynyrd Skynyrd song, and I love it. Definitely my favorite part of this episode. I especially like the ending of the fight. The two kids walk away like total badasses. Reminds me of how I feel sometimes when I stick it to the SJWs or the PC joke police on Twitter or YouTube. It's great stuff. Makes me feel important.
All right, just calm down, okay?
Policing us!
That makes me uncomfortable. Anything that makes me uncomfortable in 2017 should be illegal.
Finally, we end up on a pretty hilarious speech from Brian.
Leave me alone! I'm the self-righteous liberal douchebag, not you! I've kissed a transsexual before. How many of you can say that? Where's my medal? I am so far left, I'm spinning in circles, you Instead of killing myself, I should kill all of you!
This really shows all the hoops and mental gymnastics liberals like him have to go through to keep all their narratives straight in their heads. And in the end, the family ends up even kicking out Brian from their house.
I'm sorry. It's for the best.
Are you serious? You're okay with this?
Does this slow pan across our disapproving faces answer your question?
He goes on to find himself a shitty apartment, apartment 23 I suppose, like the episode's title. And then the episode just ends with Bri eating alone, kind of abruptly and a little sad. I was thinking there was going to be more. Family Guy usually wraps things up in a nice bow so they can start the next episode off fresh, but they didn't do that this time. It looks like they may be taking a move from South Park's playbook and doing a little multi-episode narrative for once. Should be interesting to see where this goes, especially with this whole Brian got kicked out because of bad jokes on Twitter story, which is eerily similar to how some people would like to kick me and others off YouTube for our edgy humor, and they're jealous of our ridiculously good looks. What do you guys think? Was Family Guy's take on Twitter well done? Do you agree with their criticism of guilt by association? Because I know I've seen a lot of people try and do that in the comments here and on Twitter all the time. Comment your thoughts below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit, and thanks again to GetTheT.com for sponsoring today's episode. Until next time, stay classy, internet. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon page if you want to help support the show. The videos will always be free here, but if you have $1 or $2 to spare, it really helps us out. I'm currently getting demonetized on YouTube for about half of my videos, and I'm still getting attacked on Twitter with threats to reveal more private information. So if you are a fan of the show and want to see this thing move forward and continue on to 2018, let's get a few new peeps on the Patreon page. Throw in $1, $2, hell, $5, skip a coffee once this week. I know you might not be used to donating and Patreoning people on YouTube, but it's really our last resort to keep things running. Plus, I've got lots of fun rewards on my page, like some private pictures, some deleted videos, and even some live streams with supporters that you could be a part of. You can even get a producer's credit on upcoming videos. Finally, we're also hoping to get to our next Patreon goal by the end of the year and make the first ever no bullshit movie. I've got some amazing ideas for that which I've been working on recently, so we may be releasing a teaser trailer for it soon to get you guys hyped up. Thanks for your time and thanks for checking that out. And thanks again for watching and supporting the show. Until next time, have a great day, everybody.
Yeah.
One more thing, I want to give a special thanks to these amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You guys went above and beyond the rest, and I love you so much for it. If anyone else wants to donate or join our Patreon crew, link in the description. Thanks again.